Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Noah and today I'm going to be putting together my Battlefield 1 maps tier list. This will be based mostly on the Conquest game mode and I play on console as well, so just something to note. I'm going to be taking into account map balance for both sides, how fun it is to play overall, and the looks and aesthetics of the map as well. So before we get started though, this is my personal opinion of course, so feel free to agree or disagree with me in the comments below. We're going to start here with alphabetical order and Achi Baba, and that's going to be right into A tier for me. Achi Baba is infantry only map, kind of the miniature canyons which funnel infantry into the objectives, especially the C objective, kind of right in the middle. Really enjoyable to play. Mortars can be a pain in this map, but you can play any class really. You can snipe in the more open areas, or you could play assault, medic, or support in the more enclosed areas. And I think it's generally pretty balanced for both teams as well. So Achi Baba, definitely an enjoyable map, and I will play it anytime it comes up. Moving on to our next map, which is Albion, and I have to put this in NA because it is the only map which I have never played yet. It's never come through on the PlayStation 4/5 servers yet. That's been unlocked, so I've never actually played this map, so I kind of have to put that in NA, but every other map will be coming in on this tier list. And of course we have Amiens, which is next, and that is going straight into S tier. I think a lot of people are going to agree with me here, but another infantry focused map. Do have tanks, but just the enclosed areas, the great objectives, the two bridges in the middle, even the mini alleyway objective is one of my favorites in the entire game. And of course the armored train, if it comes in, coming through the middle. Amiens is just fan favorite, one of the first maps they ever used, and there's a reason, because it's super fun to play for both sides. And adding on to that, Argonne Forest is next, and we're starting off strong here because we got another A tier. Argonne Forest, again infantry only, just like Achi Baba, but this one is it's similar to Achi Baba in that the terrain dictates where infantry can go, but you kind of just meet in the middle at the bridge flag. Excuse me, and especially the armored train, which comes through the middle if you need it, or if you're up enough and the opposing team is coming. It can take the C flag for you, but it will be destroyed pretty quickly. But you can play below the bridge, you can play on the sides of the bridge. The D objective is super fun to play in the back as well. So Argonne Forest, another fan favorite, and I have to put it in A tier. Alright, moving on to Ballroom Blitz, and this is another one that I'm going to be ranking highly. It's going in S tier, and I think this is not really too surprising for anybody. Ballroom Blitz, another one of the OG maps, if you will, of Battlefield 1. What I like about it is that you can pretty much play any class on this map effectively. You can play assault in the middle. You can snipe from the top of the ring towers in the middle. You can play medic or support also in the middle. But any class can thrive on this map, and it's pretty well balanced as well. Usually most of the fighting takes place not at the gimme flags for each team. So Ballroom Blitz, I think we can all agree, is one of the best maps of Battlefield 1. I have it in S tier. Next we have Brusilov Keep, which is kind of one you don't see very often, but I'm going to put it in B tier. I think it's pretty well balanced. Kind of the church in the middle is an interesting place to fight. I play this more in Operations than Conquest, so I'm kind of basing that off here. I don't know, it's not a generic map by any means, but I think it's just really well balanced overall. You got a town in the middle. The first few objectives on the on Operations are more close quarters, so you can still have your assaults and your medics. But Brusilov Keep just kind of flies under the radar a little bit, I think. That's why I have it in B tier instead of C tier. And then next we have Cape Helles, which also goes into B tier for me. I just like any amphibious assault maps, really, in any game. This is both in Operations and Conquest. If you're the British, you're attacking, up from the ship onto the beach with the Ottomans defending. And the same thing in Conquest, where it's a Conquest assault. And the Ottomans have all the objectives, and the British are attacking from the ship. I don't know, that's just really fun for me. Either attacking or defending, but especially attacking. And I think this map is pretty well balanced as well. a lot of trenches, but it is pretty open, so you can snipe on this map, especially from the back. So Cape Helles goes into B tier for me. I find it generally fun to play wherever, whether it's Operations or Conquest. Then we have Caporetto, which is F tier. I'm sorry, but this map looks cool for sure. It just does not play very well. It's another Conquest assault where the attackers are coming down a hill, so you can really get stuck on the first objective. It's just not very well balanced in my opinion, and it's not that fun to play either. If you're defending, you can just snipe at anybody coming down the hill, and if you're attacking, it's really hard to get past the A flag on Conquest without being sniped in the head. So, you know, Caporetto, while it does look very beautiful, it's one of the best looking maps, it's just not very well balanced, and I don't enjoy playing it very much. Empire's Edge, it's just a C tier map for me. It's one of the more average maps, I think. A lot of the fighting happens in the castle in the middle, at the C and D flags. So those are really fun engagements, but the other flags are just kind of far apart from each other, and if either team has control of the top two flags, they can just snipe down at you from either direction. But otherwise, this is, you know, pretty fun map. The Dreadnought does appear in this map, which is kind of rare in this game, but you know, I feel Empire's Edge is pretty squarely like a very average map. And the same goes for our next map here, Foul Fortress, is also C tier for me. You know, it's alright. The fortress can be fun when you're fighting in it as a non-sniper, but if one team has both of them, usually it's the Ottomans because they start on that side in Conquest, then they can just be sniping across the entire map and suppressing your entire team. Other than that, though, the one flags, or the one, I believe it's the D flag that's across the mini stream, or maybe it's a C flag. I think it's a C flag because the D flag is on top of the ridge. But whatever the one that's below the ridge, that can be really fun to contest. But otherwise, you know, Foul Fortress and Empire's Edge are pretty similar, in my opinion. They're kind of, you know, right in the middle average maps. Fort de Vaux, it's got to be A tier, man. This is Battlefield 1's meat grinder. You know, this is like your assaults and supports. This is their favorite map. You're not going to go 0.2 seconds without getting a grenade thrown at you when you're playing on this map. But that's what does make it really fun. You can play sniper on this map. It is possible because your spotting flares will take up a lot more space on the mini map because the map is smaller. So that can help you spot, you know, enemies to your team. But really, this is a medic, assault, and support map. And, you know, bring your automaticos, bring your shotguns, and just go to town on this map because it's very fun to play. You know, if you played this every other game, it would get old pretty fast, but you know, every once in a while a Fort de Vaux game is super entertaining, even if your team's getting, you know, destroyed, or you're getting destroyed by, you know, 12G backboarded shotguns. But Fort de Vaux, it's always a fun time. Moving on to Galicia, and I have this in D tier. This is just basically a flat plain with very little cover, both in Operations and Conquest, which mostly I play in Operations. This is like Sniper's Paradise. This is where snipers, this is probably the A tier, maybe even S tier sniper map, especially for Sniper v Sniper. But as a general map, it's just too flat to do anything with it. In Operations, it's really hard to push when you're always under sniper fire. And it's also pretty big as well, so it's harder to make those like concentrated push-ups with your team. So I have to put Galicia in D tier. Although theoretically, like a giant flat map might sound like an interesting, you know, kind of change of pace for most BF1 maps, but the nature of the map and how good people are at sniping at this point in the game doesn't make it that enjoyable when it comes down to it. Moving on to Giant Shadow, and this one just has to go into C tier for me. I know that a lot of people do like this map, but I don't know what it is about this one. It just seems very generic to me. Most of the fighting takes place in the ruined Zeppelin, which can be pretty fun if it's contested, but a lot of the times one team has one side and the other team has the other side of the Zeppelin, and I don't know what it is about, you know, this map. A lot of the objectives, especially if you start in the back by the town, it's kind of far away. It's a little ways to run, and I know that sounds kind of silly for a Battlefield game, but I don't know. This Giant Shadow, it's not bad by any means, but I just never, when it comes up, I never like, oh yeah, I can't wait to play Giant Shadow. So you just gotta go in C tier for me. And then probably a controversial opinion, but I have to. Heligoland Bite, I have in B tier. I know this is like X's and O's, if you will. This is a terrible map, but being virtually naval combat only, it's super fun to play when it does show up in rotation. Playing as a destroyer or a torpedo boat, or even the 2 dreadnoughts, or possibly even 3, depends on how the game is going. Heligoland Bite is not a map for infantry because of the tight shorelines and just getting bombarded by everything, but I find that most of the time the people in ships and torpedoes are fighting against each other and not against the people on the beach, so it's possible to have fun on this map, and I do. But I can understand why people don't like it that much, because if you're in a vehicle, you're probably not even doing that much to determine the outcome of the game, because the game is won on the flags, but the ships can't really go on any of the flags, so it's alright. Heligoland Bite I have in B tier because it's just fun to play. Next we got Lupko Pass. This is C tier. I think it's more enjoyable than some of the other maps here in C tier, but I just find it to be a little too big at times and maybe a little too sniper heavy, because there are some peaks and valleys that make it so that snipers can just sit up top and really suppress you. But I think this is an average map. It's more fun than, say, Giant Shadow, but I don't think it's necessarily a better / more balanced map than Giant Shadow, so it's got to go into C tier for me. Also into C tier is Monte Grappa, which, it's an OG map, Operations and Conquest, but man, I'm tired of playing on this map. I'm just getting strafed by planes or the Zeppelin, but I just can't with Monte Grappa anymore. It's not a bad map, again, like Giant Shadow. It's not a bad map. I don't hate it or anything, but I'm not gonna seek out a Monte Grappa game, if that makes sense. Fighting on the top of the ridge, the B and D flags, that's the most fun, but everywhere else is just kind of meh, so Monte Grappa goes into C tier for me. Nivelle Nights is an interesting map that I have in C tier because I don't know if it's like a console thing, but man, is it hard to see at night maps. Nivelle Nights is definitely the best night map for sure, but it does suffer from the lack of lighting. You can't really do anything long range on this map either, and it's basically a giant cycle where one team will start in one objective and then go to the next one and then go to the next one. But it's more enjoyable than I had more fun on it than, say, Monte Grappa, but just the night aspect really holds it back for me. Okay, moving on. Passchendaele. Haven't played on this map much, but it's definitely S tier. Just the overall atmosphere of this map with the gas on one side and the fire on the other side, A+. A+ map design for that. And then just the general structure of the map, where it's pretty much all ruined houses and just destroyed ground. It really gives you a World War I feel, so that bumps it up a ton. And it's fun to play because it's generally balanced. A lot of the fighting will happen in the middle. So I have to go with Passchendaele at S tier. It's whenever it does appear, which is rare on console, you have to play it. It's that much fun. Next, Priest de Tahur, D tier. Another night map. This one's harder to see on than Nivelle Nights even. This is if you want to get destroyed in the back by an Automatico or a Model 10A by a camping assault, you play this map. This map is all about finding camping spots or coming up behind people. I don't know. It's too dark and it's too cramped. If you're going to have a dark, cramped map, then it's just going to be difficult. It's going to be hard to have fun when you're just getting shot at, when you can't even see or hear people. So that's why I have it in D tier. River Somme. A tier. Just the atmosphere of this map, the wheat fields, the fire in the back, some of the trees, some of the ruined buildings. It's probably my favorite, even over Passchendaele, which is probably a blasphemous statement. But I believe it's my favorite, looking and feeling map. And it's generally balanced. Usually it's the British. On Conquest Assault, you can usually get past the first objective, but it's difficult. So, once you do, though, it's pretty easy to, make it a game again. And again, this is another map where you can play pretty much any, assault, medic, support, or sniper, and you can find some success on this map. So, River Somme is probably up here more of its looks and just, general atmosphere than strategy or how it plays, but I like it so much that it has to be an A tier. Okay, moving into Rupture, which is going to go into B tier. This map has grown on me when I first started playing this stuff. I just thought it was super generic, bridge in the middle, fighting on both sides. It's like, kind of an average map, but it's grown on me because it really looks pretty with the red flowers, the poppies. The sniping is really fun, either from the bridge or from another side. The D flag can be really fun as well, fighting on that, the Notre Dame Ridge. But it's got to be B tier only because it can be unbalanced at times. At least I've found with the team that starts on the right side of the bridge from when you're looking at the overhead map can get stuck in spawn. So that's what holds it back for being like an A tier map. But it's generally fun to play usually, so I got it in B tier. Also in B tier, Sinai Desert, another OG map, Sniper's Paradise, but you can play the other classes in the village and the train station in the middle, which is probably my favorite to do, because the little village is a really fun flag to fight for. You got a lot of buildings. Usually it's pretty contested. And then the train station is also a super interesting flag because it's basically wide open with very little cover. So whoever takes it and tries to hold it, that's just going to be difficult. And of course, this is a great sniping map. And it has the weird G flag all the way off in the random middle of the desert. So, it's kind of stupid, but it's a little funny. So, Sinai Desert, got to be in B tier. Just a classic map, but it's not anything that blows your mind or anything. Soissons, also B tier. This one has also grown on me a little bit, kind of like Rupture. It's pretty wide open. There's a big ridge, so that anyone on top of the ridge can be shooting down at people below. But in operations, that's not really a problem. Especially in operations, there's a lot of tanks. In Conquest, it's generally well balanced. The fight for the middle flag can be pretty fun. I just find this map in general is generally fun, and I can play any class on this and succeed. So it's gonna go on B tier. We have St. Quentin's Scar, which is gonna be a C tier map. I know that this is probably also a fan favorite because it was one of the OG maps as well, but it kind of acts like a bowl where there's people on the top on one side and people on the top on the other side shooting down into the middle, which can make it difficult. And I generally find that a lot of the games on this map can be lopsided. Maybe it's just the matchmaking on console, but it just happens sometimes, so that's why I have to put it into C tier. Moving on to Suez, also C tier. Very similar to St. Quentin's Scar, where these games can be lopsided as well because of the fighting in the village. Once you take one flag in the village, it's really hard to take back, so you can just keep pushing forward. But if you get a game where it's really balanced and there's fighting around the middle, Suez can be a fantastic map in Conquest, but too often it's held back by kind of the snowball effect of one team taking over and spawn camping pretty much the other team. So that's why it's got to go in C tier. Tsaritsyn. It's only D tier and not F because it can be fun. If you get into the church and you're defending it, that can be fun. But if you're stuck on the outside of this 3-flag map when the church is in the middle, if you're stuck on the outside, it is not fun at all. So that's why it has to go into D tier. Just should have added more objectives to this map. Verdun Heights, C tier. Wrapping up with some more. The last 3 maps here. Verdun Heights looks amazing, but is not very well balanced in what I've found. Usually the French who are coming downhill do not have enough time to get to the top, or either the middle C flag or even the D flag in time before the Germans can get there. So this can be a really unbalanced map, although it looks cool and can be interesting. It ends up being a little too unbalanced in Conquest. Volga River, C tier. It's really big. The middle flag with the church, which is in the picture here, is pretty fun, because if you take it, then you can pretty much snipe from anywhere across the map. The other flags are kind of interesting, but again, this is a really big map, so it's kind of hard to sustain any momentum because you're walking / running too much to the next objective. But it's alright. It's kind of like Giant Shadow. It's alright. Last but not least, Zerbrucher. I probably butchered that pronunciation, but I've only played this in Shock Operations because I've never seen it in Conquest or Assault on console. But it's got to go into C tier, at least in the Shock Operations. If you're the attacking navy, it can be really difficult because you're coming in an amphibious assault only. So I don't really have enough information on this map, the other modes, to definitively say whether it's good or bad. So I'm just gonna stick it in C tier. So I think that'll do it for this Battlefield 1 maps tier list. Let me know what you think. Are the 3 in S deserving to be an S? Anyone else should be dropped down, moved up? Please let me know in the comments below. And thank you again for watching. Leave a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.